is a body and a living organism. Every neighborhood a vital organ, every block a cell. Every person in the city is an organelle. Gotta know your history if you want to forth and tell. Every city is a body and a living organism. Every neighborhood a vital organ, every block a cell. Every person in the city is an organelle. Gotta know your history if you want to forth and tell. In the cast corridor. Detroit is the context in which complex movements makes our work. In this time of land grabs and displacement, school closings and state-appointed emergency financial manager takeover, stripping away voting rights and declaring bankruptcy, Detroit's great art, music, and social justice movement's legacy is under attack. After years of addressing these issues through community organizing and hip-hop, we decided to create Beware of the Dandelions.
With Beware the Dandelions, we're building an immersive world so our science fiction about urban farming in a post-apocalyptic future can play out. We're making music inspired by hip-hop and techno to tell the story. We're making interactive games for audience members to unlock different parts of the journey. We're creating projections, handcrafted objects, and architectural environments to bring this world to life. We're combining installation and performance. We're using high-tech sensors, cameras, programming, animation, and generative design to push interactivity and critical connections.
We're doing this to change the way people make change, reimagine revolution and social justice movements to move beyond false binaries. We're doing this to highlight and support community-led social justice movements in Detroit and other cities where we're invited to travel with this piece. We're doing this to totally disrupt your notion of what a hip-hop show is and can be, and we're doing this to push ourselves creatively in every way possible.
In the end, we want to see how many layers of complexity we can mash into a single piece and still tell a cohesive story. Ultimately, our goal is to have the audience experience lead participants to ask more questions and continue to engage the piece long after they leave.
We are Complex Movements, a Detroit-based artist collective exploring the connection between complex science and social movements, comprising music producer and filmmaker Wajid, graphic designer and fine artist Wesley Taylor, hip-hop lyricist and activist Invincible, and creative technologist and multimedia artist Carlos Garcia. This all started in 2006, inspired by a speech given by 98-year-old Detroit philosopher and community activist Grace Lee Boggs. In this speech, she applies metaphors based on quantum physics to movement building. This speech led to nerdery, which dove into books, science journals, and community conversations. That nerdery turned to geekery, and we integrated these ideas into our own work, tinkering, experimenting, and applying these concepts through our creative processes.
The Detroit Science Center hosted the first iteration of these ideas in 2011 with a show entitled Quantum Leap. Through this, we were able to explore the fusion of performance, projection, sculpture, and interactive objects. This led to exploring the ways in which a song can be an interactive experience, and in 2012, we created a limited edition series of handcrafted, soldered, and laser-etched electronic music boxes. In the subsequent piece, three phases, we experimented with separating live performers from the audience by broadcasting real-time video onto a corrugated wall, along with the 8-foot-tall interactive music box. This gave us ways to allow the audience members to find unique vantage points and opportunities to create and play with sound.
Now, Beware the Dandelions alters the traditional audience-performer paradigm by physically separating the audience and the performers, and then reconnecting them in real time through a live video feed projected onto a polyhedron pod. Once inside the pod, each audience member becomes a fully active participant of the experience.
Just last week, we wrapped up a month-long work-in-progress residency of Beware of the Dandelions at Detroit's Charles H. Wright Museum for African American History, during which we performed over 20 times for community feedback, perpetually experimenting and evolving elements of the work, including generative graphics and games for audience participation. This experience began with a single song, Apple Orchards. By exploring the idea of scale, we found something as small as a song can essentially scale up to the size of a building, similarly to how small-scale projects for social change, when interconnected, can scale across societal paradigm shifts. This concept of scale, along with other principles including collective leadership, uncertainty, and more, are all emblematic in the themes and story of Beware of the Dandelions.
In its completed form, Beware the Dandelions has 3 modes, functioning as a performance experience that takes participants through a sci-fi journey. Our experience at the Wright Museum has been invaluable and showed us the power and potential of these new mediums. The second mode is as an interactive installation, living as a standalone visual art exhibit. And the third is a community workshop space for supporting local community organizing efforts. All three of these modes not only build on each other, but can also be experienced individually. In order to fully activate all three of these modes, we need residency, time, and space.
We need residencies from 2 weeks to a month long. We need people with expertise in gaming and technology so they can help us develop these elements. We need people with experience in integrating storytelling into installation to increase the levels of theatricality and empathy.
We plan to premiere Beware of the Dandelions next year and take it on the road. In order to do this, we need support with touring and logistics. We need community partners who can connect us to localized movement building efforts and nurture authentic collaboration. With Beware of the Dandelions, we aim to share the stories of Detroit with other communities and cross-pollinate models of creative resistance and resilience into decentralized networks of change. Let it grow. Let it grow. Let it grow. Beware of the dandelions, yeah.
Best way to reach us, complexmovements.com.
Thank you.